So yesterday we have seen the retrofit networking library. So if you want me to repeat on the same, yesterday yesterday I promised that I will be repeating the same concept today as well. So let me go ahead with it. Right. Okay. What is the first step in working with retrofit? Okay. Question again to the participants. You want me to work on the same project, or you want me to create a new project and show you the process step by step once again? How do you want it to be explained? Want me to start all afresh, or can I explain the code that is present here? How do you want it to be? All right, let us go with a new one. This is an old project actually. A new one. We'll call it retrofit 2. Okay. Simple get and post request we will do. Retrofit 2. Make sure that it is created in batch 15 folder. Nice. Leave the defaults and hit on finish. For retrofit, the first step that you're gonna do is go to this retrofit documentation and get the dependency first. So step 1, add retrofit dependency to the project. So what is retrofit dependency? How do you know that? So you simply have to go to retrofit configuration. So here you will see here you will see this implementation dependency. Just have to come back and paste it inside your Gradle. Before that, the latest version is not given here. We are supposed to write in the latest version. If that is the case, we'll go to GitHub and we will fetch the latest version. The latest version is 2.9.0. You copy that. Come back to the project. Sorry, go back to the classwork and insert your dependency here. That's it. Okay. So now this becomes the whole dependency. Can copy this whole dependency. Come back. Open Gradle scripts. Open build.gradle file. These are the small tweaks that we should do. We already have done it. And then the dependency, you can paste it. In the similar way, you also have the retrofit configuration. So copy one of these converter factories. Why do we need them? Because as soon as the data arrives, we can use one of these converter factories to serialize and deserialize JSON to POJOs and POJOs to JSON. Okay. You can copy JSON library because we already have worked with it. Now write implementation, and in the single quotes you can paste the dependency. The latest version should be 2.9.0. Okay, this is step one. So adding the dependencies. Also add JSON converter factory to the Gradle. So you want to have that noted? Yeah, you can use this one. That is step one. So what is step two? Let's highlight step one. So what is step two? Simply, once it is done, once the synchronization is done, set up the UI. Okay, prepare the UI. So setting up the UI is a very small task. We all know that how to do. Okay, we all know how to handle the UI, right? Because we have been working on various projects since now, so since a lot of time. I want two buttons. Get them here at the bottom, or you can also have them at the top. That's up to you. Select these two buttons. Right click, go to chains, and create a horizontal chain. Baseline the second button to the first button. Show baseline, set it to the first button. So what is this first button? The first button should show get data or get request. I'm going to handle get request here. And on the second button, I'm going to handle post request. Okay. Now if you set the button correctly, it will be in place. Now all you need is a text view and a progress bar. Simple thing. A text view I'm picking up, setting the four constraints, top to the top, bottom to the top of the first button, left to left, and right to right. Okay. I'd like to change the button's height and width. ID, you can leave it as it is, not an issue. Here we'll say loading data instead of text view. You can change the font size or you can leave it as it is. That doesn't matter. Okay, we'll have 25 SP because we want to see it right. That is fine. We'll leave it there. Now we will also fetch a widget, and that is progress bar. Again, set the four constraints to the four sides of the screen. Okay. We have a progress bar also. For get and post, we will create on create methods. And all this is understood, right? On click, get data. You can create get data method on main activity. On click, post data. You know when they will be handled, correct? Post data. So once the preparation of UI is done, now step 3. Understand. Okay, actually this is step 2, but I'm doing it as step 3. Understand about the API or RESTful service. REST API. Understand about the REST API that you are going to use. Okay. So JSON placeholder www.typecode.com. Okay. So this is the API, fake API service that I'm using. So if you use this, it is similar to that of a normal RESTful web service. Okay, web services will be generated like this only. Okay, to understand it completely, where is my link? I don't understand. JSON, no. JSON placeholder. Okay, if I go to Postman, so this is the platform where we can actually test our API services. Okay, so you need to create one. Okay, right. So we have got Google Books API testing, which is already there. Okay, so in the same place, I would like to create. I would like to send. I would like to show you how this works. Okay. So if you go to the documentation, see, you should go to the guide, and in the guide, everything is there. How do we get a resource? If you run this if you run this link, even on the browser, it will show you, like it will show one post. In the same way, even on Postman, it will show you. If you hit on send, as it is a GET request, you will fetch the data. So in the body, if you see the raw file, you get to see that the data is coming in. Okay. In the same way. So getting is easy. Getting the data is quite easy. Instead of one, if you remove it and run it, and you'll get all of most of the things. If you want to see it pretty, you can see it pretty. Okay. Most of the all the posts will come. If you don't want to get all the posts, you want to get the posts that are of user ID 1, user ID 2, you can give it after the post, after the slash. Even if the slash is not available, you'll still get the data. Okay. This is get request. Get request is quite easy to understand. So yesterday you felt difficulty in understanding the post request. Am I right? Am I correct? Yesterday you faced difficulty in understanding the post request. Am I right or wrong? Guys, no response. Am I audible in the first place? Thank you, all the Fraja. Okay. So get request is understood. You simply have to run this URL and you'll get the data. So how about post request? So for post request, according to the guide that you got here, according to the guide, when you want to do a post request, so the method is chosen to post. Right here, the method is chosen to post. Correct? And in the body, you are supposed to send this JSON response. So this is a JSON response, and this has to go in the body. So you copy this. For testing purpose, we are copying this title, body, and user ID. Yesterday, we took our own title, our own body, and our own user ID and did it. Right? Okay. Now come back to the JSON placeholder. So in the body, under the body, can go to raw, paste your text. So this is the body I would like to send. Okay. For this, if I hit on send, I will get a response. The response ID is 101. Means it is added, isn't it? Okay. So that is how the sending of the request is happening. Okay. You can also give form data. Title is what? So if you see raw, this is in the form data, title will be key and foo will be value. Okay. That is also a proper way of sending the data. All right. So with the URL, the method is post, and if it has body, you are doing a post request. If not, you're doing a get request. Simply. Very simple thing. Okay. Now see the implementation guide, implementation details. So step 3 is done. So what is step 4? Refer to the developer documentation and implement the functionalities. Implement the functionalities. That's it. Once you're done, you're done for life. Okay. So let's come back. We have text view and a progress bar. Let us connect them. Text view TV, progress bar PB. Okay, connect them here after the set content view. TV is equal to FBB r.id dot text view. Okay. And PB is equal to find view by ID r.id dot progress bar. Progress bar. Once they are done, progress bar must not be visible to the user right away. So initially keep it invisible, and the same visibility will be changed when the buttons are pressed. So this is also known fact, right? So here we go visible, and instead of it, here we go visible. Okay. So now how do we perform a retrofit request? Generally, to perform a retrofit request, the first thing that you need to do is you need to create a service. Okay. So right click, go to new, choose Java class. Let us call it retrofit, or let us call it retrofit service interface. Can create a retrofit service interface. Add it. Okay. We will implement the methods or abstract methods here. We will write abstract methods here in the interface. But before that, let us add the retrofit instance. So retrofit, from retrofit to, let us create an object. Next step is what? Initializing this retrofit. Sorry. So initialize the retrofit instance. Retrofit is equal to new retrofit.builder. It is new retrofit.builder. You need not to pass anything to the builder, but you need to provide the base URL. So what is the base URL? So the base URL is something that leads you to the API. And on this base URL, you can build paths around. Okay, copy and just simply paste this base URL here. Now we should add a converter factory. We'll add JSON converter factory dot create, and finally you'll call build method. Okay, so this is how you usually initialize retrofit library, retrofit object. Once it is done, in the service, we can add the request that we want to perform. So there are two requests that I want to perform. So two requests are there. One is get request. So in order to define a get request, you need to create an abstract class. So abstract method. Let us call it. What do I want to return? Okay. So the first request should be @get. So as we want to perform a post request, the second request would be @post. Okay. So in order to get the data, if you see, there is a huge amount of data that we will get if we do posts, right? This is the huge amount of data. So in order to parse it, in order to parse this response, we need Pojo classes, models for this particular response. So how do we get that? You would get that from JSON schema to Pojo class. Sorry, JSON schema to pojo.org website. You go there, copy everything, paste it. Instead of example, you say source or anything like such. The class name is your wish, right? I like source. Source type, you change it to JSON. Annotation style, you change it to none. Validation, long integers, double numbers, yeah, include getters and setters, fine, include constructors. Do not allow additional properties. Now hit on zip. That generates a downloadable folder from where you can get the data. Okay, you can extract the contents here. And you can copy this source file, source.java. Because you want the data to be in source.java. That is the reason I did not write anything on the interface. Understand that. Okay, the sequence of steps may vary for you. As you proceed, the sequence of steps would definitely vary. Okay, you have user ID, integer ID, title, and body. So where do you see this user ID, title, and body? You would see inside the array. So this is all inside the array. Had it not been inside the array, we can write for this get service, we can simply write call of source. But here we are returning a list of items. That is why we should write call of retrofit, not telecom, by the way. Call of retrofit library. And what do I want? I want a list of posts. Sorry, source. I want to have a list of sources. Right. So to perform a get request, I am using a method called get data or get posts. So this is what the method I'm using. As this retrofit has to understand that it is a get request, we'll annotate it with get. In the similar way, for post also you do the same. Nothing fancy, nothing extra. But however, post also will return some data. You may ask me, why is this data useful? So when you do a post request, when you perform a post request, if the data is posted or not, how would you know? How would you know if the data is posted or not without getting a response? Do you think it is possible? I don't think so. When you perform a post request, you should get data. And that data, what are you getting out of the retrofit? Sorry, what are you getting it out of the RESTful web service has to be understood before doing a post request. So if I post the data, what am I getting out? What am I getting out? Let us say you went to a bank and deposited some amount. You will get an acknowledgement, right? Yep, absolutely, I can. You should get an acknowledgement. And what kind of acknowledgement are we getting out of it? So if you go to the documentation or the guide, you would see the response. The response would be like this. This is the output. So based on this, can we come up with a class? Yes, absolutely. This can be a response object. Response we can create as a object. We can say ID as a integer, title as a string, body as a string, and user ID as a integer. Simply copy all this. Okay, let us create another other object. So this object is for post request. Okay, post office. Okay, post request. So that is the class name. Okay, not taking anything fancy. So you can paste all this. So this is an integer, right? So int ID. And what is this? This is a string. Oh, sorry. This is a string title. This is also a string body. And this is an integer user ID. Now you know what to do. You can create a constructor initializing all these by hitting Alt Enter. Sorry, Alt Insert. By hitting Alt Insert again, you can create getters and setters for all these things. You can also create an empty constructor by hitting Alt Insert constructor and choosing select none. Right. So this is post request, the response that you get out of the post request or the acknowledgement, we could say. Okay. Now going back to the retrofit service. So here I want to perform a post request. Okay. For the get request, for the get request, it is posts. Posts is the the path of the base URL which gets you the data. So here you will write posts. In the similar way, for post request also it is same. Okay, we'll come back to the annotation. But what are we returning here with the post method? I'm going to return post rec. Okay, post rec class object. So we'll say post data. So which data we will post, we will understand later. But posting data is also important. Okay, let us see what data is pushed. Don't get confused here, guys. This is a very sensitive thing. Don't get confused. Where is this documentation? Documentation is here. Okay, ID title body user ID. Yeah, ID title body user ID. Fine. So the simple thing is that ID body title. Okay, we don't have user ID at all. Okay, we don't have user ID. No, user ID is there. ID is not there. So guys, sorry. For the input, you don't need this ID at all. You can remove this one. User ID is sufficient. For ID, we can remove these things. Not needed actually. They are not needed. Title, body, and user ID are sufficient. You don't require them. Yeah, you don't require them. And it is cool. Nice. So you will be giving the same post request object to post. So that's the trickiest case here. So at the rate post, and interestingly, the URL remains the same, because if you see the post request, the URL is also starting with posts. The path is also starting with posts. Okay, once it is done, we have to define what is there in the body. So body, user, okay, body, post track, post track. Okay. So this post request will be converted to JSON body and it will be sent through the post URL. That is my goal. Now go to manifest file, add internet permission. This is something that I'm forgetting every single time. Okay. Now what is the next step? After creating the service class, service interface, next step would be coming back to main activity and create a service. So where is Git retrofit service? Retrofit service can be initialized here. Retrofit service, so I will call it service. And how do we initialize it? Simple. In the onCreate method, all you need to do is service equals to retrofit dot create retrofit service dot class. Okay. Now, when you get the data, how do you get the data? Simply by service, you will call get data method, get post method. Okay. In a similar way, how do you push data? Simply by calling service dot post data. This method I will call. Okay. In order to see if you get a response with the help of get post, we do the enqueue method. We call the enqueue method and see if we get the data. Okay. So if you get the data, your data will be there in on response. If you do not get the data, your data will be there in on failure. Okay. Nice. Similar is the case with post data, guys. We'll implement post data a bit later. For now, let us implement the get data. So in the get data, what are we doing? As soon as you get the response, the first step that you do is stop showing the progress bar. So set the visibility of the progress bar to gone or invisible. In the similar is the case with if you encounter a failure also. Okay. Nice. Now here if you see, you get the data as a list of source. You just display it on the text view. So from the response, if you just call the body on top of the response object, you will get the list of source items. So list of source items, sources is equal to response dot body. Simple. Now write a for each loop. Source as of sources. Now display the data on the text view. So text views set text, you can set it to null or empty and display the data on top of it. So append s dot get body or get title. Titles you can append. Of course, give a backslash in here. Okay. Now let us run the application on my device and see if you get the data and display it. I mean, if you properly get the data or not. If I hit on get data, you're getting the data, right? It is very simple. What if I want to post data? If I want to post data, first of all, I need to create an object for post request. Post request R is equal to new post request. And for this, I'm supposed to pass in the user ID. I'll say Android classes. And the user ID I would like to give is not user ID. Yeah, user ID I will follow something like that. Now simply perform a post request just as if you did the get request. Very simple. You just have to call service object, call this post data method. Okay, this is the post data method. Okay, see it here clearly. And what am I posting? I'm posting this request object and simply enqueue this to know if the request has been processed or not. And when the request is processed, you would see that you get a post request object as the response. Because this is because you are awaiting for that response. Okay. So in the main activity, what you need to do is what you need to do is simply write a toast message, or you simply show data on the text view. So it's like text view or set text is empty. Okay, you can directly write response dot body dot get body. So in the get body, you'll get Android classes maybe. Also, do not show the progress bar. pp dot set visibility to invisible. Same is the thing you do for on failure. Right. Run the application and see the output. Enjoy. If it is not working, then we will enjoy even more. So if I hit on post, I should get Android classes, and I get Android classes because the post request is being achieved. It's been done. Right. So this is how post requests can be executed or can be achieved while working with RESTful services. And if you ask me, is this the end of the picture for networking? No, not absolutely. There is still more to explore. There is still more to do with the networking libraries, but the basics remain the same. Okay. So I recommend everyone to practice these things as priority. And further, whatever you want to explore, you can explore. Okay. Don't go for other libraries immediately without mastering these. Retrofit, volley, executors. These three concepts has to be mastered. Right. Mastered in the sense you should be very strong in the basics. If somebody asks you something related to the basics, you are supposed to give an answer immediately. That kind of a preparation is needed. At least if you want to come to this. Okay, Akanshi is asking a question. Among volley and retrofit, which is mostly used? Retrofit, Akansha. Then comes the volley. Because volley compared to retrofit is a bit slow. A bit. But retrofit is complex. Yes, I understand. I understand this. Retrofit is complex in the initial stages. Once you master it, it will become a cakewalk for you. But Wally is quite easy for all the developers. Okay. Yes. Just understand the concept, everyone. Just understand the concept. See how it can be implemented. Document it somewhere, or you can Google search and pick up a nice tutorial. It is not that whatever Pavan is telling you, you should only follow that. There is no rule like such. You can follow any other tutorial of your interest, or you can follow any other website which feels more easy than what I delivered in this session. It's okay, absolutely fine. Okay, practice it once, twice. Once you're comfortable, you can note down the point somewhere and just go to the next concept. Okay, this is not, we are not going to have an exam. Okay, right? Okay, I will be pushing this code to GitHub because you understood this, seems. What example? Okay, this is right. Something that we downloaded from here. Downloads. Where are my files? Patch 15. So the code is also being pushed to GitHub repository, Bitbucket repository. Please have a look at it. Thank you so much, guys. Today we were able to complete retrofit. So with this, networking came to an end, at least in our course. Okay, but there is no end for anything. Uh, so the next topic is going to be very much interesting, much more interesting. Okay, tomorrow, tomorrow we don't have a session. We have a session again on Monday. Okay, 27th of February. Okay, on Monday we will actually learn shade preferences. Shade preferences and internal storage, if possible. And then we'll talk about the other persistent storage options in Android, including SQLite and Room database. Okay, nice. With that said, thank you so much, guys. Have a fantastic day ahead. Okay. So Anil is asking about GitHub link. Where is it? Did I close it? Oh shit. Bitbucket. This one. This is the one. Okay. Vikram, I'm sending it to you. Please bookmark it. Whatever the I think I have already updated the notes. Okay, fine. You can also you even use my ebook, which is here. Have you ever seen this ebook? I'm not sure. All right. So thank you. Take care. Have a happy weekend. We'll meet on Monday.